I told myself it was content. That's how I turned cheating into a folder name. I'm Sienna, 27, a social media manager for a boutique jewelry brand in Minneapolis. My boyfriend, now ex, Noah, 30, is a quiet graphic designer who collects fountain pens, irons his t-shirts, and never forgets to back up his files. He's the kind of man who labels cords, keeps warranties, and updates firmware the day it comes out. I loved that about him when it meant I never lost a document. I hated it when it meant I couldn't lose a lie. The plan started small. I asked to borrow his old DSLR, the one he used before he upgraded, so I could shoot a personal branding session with a photographer friend. The brand was mine, the session was not. The friend was my ex-situationship, River. Tattooed forearms, black and white film snob, the sort of handsome your self-esteem can't afford on a payment plan. He'd been demanding me for weeks with "we should make something beautiful again," which is the kind of line that belongs in a museum under "here lies bad decisions." Noah is generous in a boring way that becomes heroic when measured against the real world. He charged the camera batteries, cleared the SD cards, and handed me the strap. "Have fun," he said, kissing my forehead. "Do you want the 50 millimeters? It's in the Pelican case." I said yes because I wanted the look of intimacy, even though I had already chosen the act. We shot in a loft River rents by the hour. A white wall, a plant on a stool, big windows that make anyone look like they've learned their lesson. I wore a silk slip under an oversized blazer and told myself it was an aesthetic. We started with headshots and jewelry. Safe. Then the playlist got slower, the banter got warmer, and we moved to the bed because texture. The kiss arrived like thunder follows heat, inevitable, loud, and proof the forecast had been lying. We didn't sleep together. We kissed and collapsed into the kind of tangle that can't be captioned without lying. At 6:18 p.m., I posed near the window, blazer off my shoulders, River laughing about how the camera still sings, even though it's dated. He snapped 30 frames in a burst. At 6:24, I slid back into the blazer and told him I had to go. He looped the camera strap over my neck like a medal and said, "We made something," which, technically, we did. I Ubered home in the gold hour when Minneapolis tricks you into forgiving winter. I rehearsed the version of events I could live with. The photos were tasteful, the vibe was professional, the kiss was a punctuation error. I walked into the smell of Noah's roasted sweet potatoes and the sound of our air purifier, humming like a therapist. He greeted me with the easy smile of a man who trusts the person he loves. He didn't mention the photos. He ladled dinner into bowls, asked how the light was, and listened while I lied with confidence that should have embarrassed me. Then he said, "Hey, when you're done eating, can you bring the camera over? I want to help you make a backup folder so you don't lose anything." I swallowed something sharp. "Oh, sure," I said, casual as a cat stretch. The thing about Noah is he solves problems before you know you have them. Months ago, he'd set the DSLR to auto-transfer via Wi-Fi to our shared NAS drive whenever it connected to our home network because I once cried over a corrupted SD card. "You'll never lose a memory again," he'd said, as if that were exclusively good news. While I ate, the camera in my tote connected to our network like a dog finding its way home. In the office, a little tray icon quietly flashed as Canon EOS importer wrote file names into a directory Noah had named Sienna_brand_2026 because he's respectful even in file structure. Each new image showed up with EXIF data, lens, shutter speed, timestamp, and, because I'd left the setting on from a trip, GPS coordinates. River Studio. He had seen the thumbnails appear in real time before I finished my first bowl. He didn't storm the kitchen or stage a monologue. He finished his portion, placed his chopsticks across the bowl like a person who is taught to respect endings, and said, "When you're ready, the backup is already done." I pretended not to understand and went to the sink to buy 10 seconds. My heart was doing math. What did he see? Which ones? Do good men notice metadata? Yes. Yes, they do. On his desk, my whole afternoon. Me in that blazer that looked like a confession, the silk slip climbing my collarbone, my hand in River's hair for one frame where the camera caught what the room felt like. A second window showed the map panel, a red pin on a street I had not told him about. The file names looked like a courtroom. IMG_1218, CR3 was me biting my lip. IMG_1234, CR3 was the kiss. IMG_1252. R3 was me staring at River like a mirror had finally told the truth. I blurted the worst opener. It wasn't what it looks like. He didn't raise his voice. It looks like you kissed someone and took pictures of it with my camera, he said. Then he clicked one image open and pointed to the corner like he was giving a software tutorial. 6:24 p.m., 44.983 and 93.264 W. It also looks like you were at a studio you didn't mention. I tried to put the blame somewhere that would catch it. I just wanted to feel exciting again. We've been so routine. He nodded once, almost kindly. We have routines. I like routine. It's how I make space for the people I love. It's how your plants don't die and your photos don't disappear. He paused. I won't make space for this. That should have been the end. But humiliation has a stage name called defense. I said the famous last words. It was just a kiss. He breathed in through his nose and out through his mouth like a swimmer. Sienna, I'm not a prosecutor, he said. I don't care about degrees. I care that the person I'm with can hand me her day without editing. He clicked to the folder list and created a new one called return_camera. Then he stood, walked to the hall closet, and pulled down my overnight bag. He set it on the bed without theatrics. Please pack for a few days. I'll stay with Eli. We can talk about the apartment later. I asked if we could fix it, if we could go to counseling, if he could hit delete and erase the afternoon the way I wanted to erase how I'd gotten there. He looked at me like I had suggested we sand down a stop sign. Deletions don't change events, he said. They just make it harder to learn from them. I packed badly. Leggings, 2 t-shirts, the wrong charger, a toiletry bag that forgot toothpaste but remembered a lipstick I now hated. He helped me find my passport because he always knows where my important things are, even when I don't deserve that kindness. At the door, he handed me a small USB stick. These are the shots you actually wanted for your LinkedIn and website, he said. You don't have to ask River for anything. He left. He didn't slam. I sat on the edge of the bed and watched the network share spin down like a spaceship going to sleep. I wanted to crawl into the hard drive and rename everything that hurt. I told exactly 2 people. One said, everyone kisses people sometimes, which I recognize now as someone excusing their own archive. The other said, you used his care as cover. That one stuck. River texted. When can I see you again? The set is magic. I blocked him without writing a speech because sometimes growth is silence. He posted one photo of his hands holding a coffee, black and white, cryptic caption. Making again. Which earned 30 comments from girls with usernames like @filmwitch. I muted his account and then unfollowed the gallery that rents him the light I betrayed. Noah didn't post anything. He didn't leak. He didn't subtweet. He emailed me a spreadsheet with 3 tabs: lease, utilities, furniture. He titled it Sienna_no_split and used color coding so I could see what was mine without explanation. He suggested I keep the Pelican case. You might as well have your own starter kit, he wrote. I cried at a plastic box. Friends asked for my side. I gave it to them without costume. I borrowed a camera from a careful man and used it to document my carelessness. I didn't appeal for a jury. I just sat with the verdict. I kept the DSLR. I disabled auto-transfer because I thought I needed privacy. Then I turned it back on because I realized I need accountability. I set it to upload to my own drive named Don't Lie to Yourself. I booked a therapist with my own insurance portal, which makes a sound when you submit a claim that I'm convinced is a moral bell. 6 months later, I saw Noah at a maker's market with a woman in a denim jumpsuit who sold ceramic mugs with thumb rests. She laughed with her whole body. He looked like a man who sleeps 8 hours. I didn't linger. I bought a mug, paid full price, and left. 2 years later, a mutual friend posted a photo of a desk with 2 monitors, a baby monitor, and a small hand grabbing at a fountain pen. Noah's caption was a dry joke about client feedback from the baby. His life didn't become a movie where I was the villain because he doesn't cast people like that. He just edits. I could tell you I learned about metadata. I could tell you I learned to respect routines. I learned something quieter. The story you tell yourself about why you deserve a moment can't survive a timestamp. And the gentlest men are still allowed to leave. If you're me, if you're about to walk into a loft with someone whose attention feels like a sunrise, ask yourself how it will look, not just in a camera, but in a folder that writes itself when you get home. If the imagined file name makes you flinch, you already know. Noah once said backups aren't for the past, they're for your future self who can't handle losing more than she has to. I wish I had treated him like that. My remarks. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Well, she tried to tuck a harmless kiss into a branding shoot and forgot that cloud syncs and EXIF stamps don't care about vibes. He didn't rant or revenge post. He let the auto-upload speak, set a calm boundary, and walked. That's the lesson. When you date a careful man, the truth arrives quietly and on time. If you like grounded stories where standards, not shouting, decide the ending, hit subscribe. See you tomorrow.